But all right, I'm ready to go when you're ready to go.
I'm ready.
All right.
I had to put that snake away. It just wanted to crawl over my head.
Now, do you go by Jim or James?
Jim.
You go by Jim and
Yeah.
Tosetti. Is that how you say your last name?
Tosetti. It's an Italian name.
Tosetti. Yeah, yeah. My mom's. That's you said that's Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's maiden name is Centra.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in this town I live in. There was like five original Italian families that came, and the Centras were one of them.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's like the whole one section of town back in the day that was like just the Italian section of town.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wanted to bring on people that have kind of new to retics. How long you been keeping retics?
Oh, probably about close to 2 years now. And
Two
thanks for
close.
having me on. I was looking
Yeah,
forward to
yeah,
it.
no problem. I've been trying to reach out to more people to try to come on and talk, especially newer people, because a lot of times they don't get too many invites to podcasts and shit, and I kind of wanted to give some newer people an option to get out there and talk about their stuff and what they're excited about.
Yeah, there's a lot of new people that'd be interesting to listen to.
Yeah. So, how long ago did you start working with reptiles? Cold Blooded Cafe provides the finest frozen rodents, offering all sizes of mice and rats shipped directly to your door. Cold Blooded Cafe is now offering a variety of other feeder options, ranging from African soft furs to crawfish. Whatever your feeder needs, Cold Blooded Cafe has you covered. Nationwide shipping is available with flat rate shipping for only $30 a box, and shipping boxes and insulation are made from environmentally friendly recycled material. Before shipping, all feeders must meet top grade quality standards before leaving the facility. For your feeder solutions, go to coldbloodedcafe.com and use code RNBR10 for 10% off your order.
Oh geez, I was probably 5 or 6.
Oh, really? So it's been a while?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from like a small country town in central Illinois, and my
Mm-hmm.
brother was 10 years older than me, and he always bringing snakes home, black snakes, racers, water snakes, all types of stuff. So that got me really interested in it. I think I've been addicted to it ever since then.
Oh, that's cool. And what all you keeping these days?
Oh geez, I've got I've got 9 pure Superdorf retics. 4 of them are kalaotoas. I've got 4 Hog Island boas, 2 Corn Island boas, 2 wild caught cyclops, green tree pythons. I've
Mm-hmm.
got a northern emerald tree boa. It's a baby. Oh, let me glance at my list here to make sure I'm not leaving anything out. I've got 3 dwarf Burmese pythons. That looks like it should be it for now.
Oh, the are they the pure prog shy? Is
They
that how you
are. I
say
got
it?
them
Prog
from
shy.
Brian Fontaine.
Oh, okay. Man, I messed up. I had a chance to get those and I didn't, and that was a mistake. You
Yeah,
know.
I'd always seen them, but I didn't know if they were actually real until Lucas had Michael Pinnell on his podcast. And then
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, I guess they're real. I better look into this. Same night, I contacted Brian. He had just had a clutch, and we arranged a trade. Some of my retics are over at his house now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're from Sola Island.
yeah. He told me I think it was Bali, Sula, and another one, maybe Sumatra.
Well, there's a group of islands in the Lesser Sundas that has berms, and then there's like a little section on Sola that has them.
Yeah, they're
So
they're really interesting species.
yeah, yeah, they are neat. I wish I would have jumped on them because I could have got some right off Sola, and like an idiot, I passed on them.
I think the key now is there's so few of them here. There are 2 different bloodlines. Some of them came from Bob Clark, and
Hmm.
another one came from I think it's South Bay Reptile, or is it East Bay Reptiles, the oldest reptile store in the country. I think they imported some, and I think
Yeah.
Leach's Python Palace has that bloodline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I hope I can acquire one of those one day and start mixing those bloodlines, keep them going.
Yeah, that would be neat. And your Hog Islands, yeah, that's another thing I wish I wouldn't have passed on back in the day, and because you just don't see many pures anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when you saw quite a few that you could tell were mixed.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of stand out a bit. So, like with me, it's all about getting diverse bloodlines. So, I got I've got some Sears bloodline. I've got Basset, Rio Bravo. Yeah, so I've got three different bloodlines in four snakes.
Oh wow.
There's three or four other bloodlines I know of, but I think it'd be good for everyone to start crossing those.
Yeah.
We've only got so many snakes here, and a lot of these cool snakes you can't even bring them in anymore.
Yeah, I know it's sad. And then your Corn Island, that's the I know the least about them. I don't know much
Those
about
those are
those.
my favorite species probably.
Really?
I saw those when I was going to college, probably my late 20s. I'm like, wow, that's just the way a snake should look. I need some of those. I had no idea how rare they were. So a couple years into college, I sent a message to Vin Russo, and he's like, yeah, I don't have any right now. Maybe next year. And so once I started reading about them, I'm like, it said it was the rarest boa in captivity. I'm like, well, that's probably not good for me. So I checked back all the time, but I got so busy with school in my early career, I probably didn't keep snakes for 10 years in that period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man, if you're off at school or if you're having a really busy job. It's hard like if you're working over 40 hours a week, it's really tough to have a reptile collection.
Yeah, where I lived in Illinois, I had to drive an hour to work no matter where I was working.
Uh so yeah, you're spending 10 hours in a car at least every week. So there's every day's a 10-hour day minimum.
Oh, minimum, yeah. It was usually more like 13 or so.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it really tough to have a collection when you're working that much. Um but so with the retics based on the rest of your collection, you're pretty into just locality stuff, generally speaking. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story how I got into this. I was down in Florida because I got married last year actually, but me and my wife had been together for a little while. She had just got her PhD from school in Wisconsin, and we
Hmm.
moved to Arkansas, and then we moved to Florida for a different job. I'm keeping my same job remotely,
Okay.
and so I'm down in Florida, and I've just picked it back up. I got some crawl keys from Vin Russo. I got some diamond pythons from Terry Burwell. I'm like, this is great. And then I'm starting to see all these reticulated pythons, these super dwarfs, and I'm just like, wow, I'm like, I can't even have these down here. And then so it worked out to where my wife, she's getting a better job, so we moved up to Charlotte, North Carolina,
Hmm.
and started within a week. I think I had already had some coming. I had some coming from Daniel Solis, Hell Creek Reptiles, but yeah, it was supposed to start out with just three, right? But
Yeah.
then like a month later, I think it was the whole TK Kalatoa thing blew up.
Okay.
So then it turned into me trying to track down Kalatoas, and the more I
Yeah.
got, it's like, well, those aren't, we just don't have paperwork, And then, as I started acquiring them, I ended up with a wild caught from Daniel, that pygmy line female and her son. And I've since got another one from Rob Rosh from that Reach
Yeah.
Dreams and R&B line Kalatoa.
Yeah.
And I got another R&B line from uh, Eric Kohler.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot you picked up Eric, the one Eric had. Yeah. Eric's only.
I seen it on the phone. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's a real Kalatoa. I got to get it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. He only lives 45 minutes from me. Like maybe like an hour if there's traffic. But yeah. Yeah. I've known me and Eric. We've known each other over 20 years.
Yeah, I remember when I seen it. I asked you. I'm like, do you know this guy?
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot all about that. But Eric's a super nice dude. He's real into. I imagine you got along with him. He's super into locality scrub or not scrubs, carpets,
Yeah, yeah. We're
carpet
talking about
pythons.
diamond pythons.
Yeah, he's been into that forever. So yeah, I keep trying to get him to come on here, but he don't like to do. He's not real social.
He's got a lot of cool snakes. I actually knew about him before this. His name came up as Eric K. I'm like, who's Eric K?
Yeah, he's been keeping reptiles forever too. Super nice dude. But what's their plan with those? Just to keep them pure, kind of out, cross them into each other, get some fresh blood into the bloodlines, or
Yeah, so those Kalatoas. I mean, with that TK thing, if you look at it, if you eliminate TK, what is really left out there as far as a legitimate Kalatoa?
If you're looking for a solution for temperature stabilization in your reptile room, I highly recommend you go with a mini split heat pump. R&B Reptiles has recently partnered with Got Duckless, a company that offers multiple brands of mini split heat pumps at very affordable prices. And they were kind enough to set up a separate page with 20 different items for you to look through to help you navigate what you might need. If you think you need something more, or if you have multiple reptile rooms and need multiple units, reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to help you figure out exactly what you need. I've been using a mini split for 12 years. I cannot recommend them enough. They're one of the best investments I've ever made for my collection.
So I had talked with Lucas Bagnara quite a bit, and we're looking into different lines, and so I one day, probably a couple months ago, I went through every Kalatoa sale on Morph Market.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many were probably actually real Kalatoas? Take a guess. It was like 38 pages or something.
Mm. Oh, I can't imagine.
It was like
Well,
one or two.
yeah, I was going to say most of all that stuff has TK in it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, if it's into a morph, it don't matter. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If it's in a, who gives a shit? There's
Right.
a lot of people. When Lucas and them put out that video, thank God I wasn't in it. I didn't need the fucking headache. Um, but I just didn't see um it a big deal when it came to all the stuff that had already been crossed into morph wise, because it was like,
Yeah.
well, it's a
That's
morph. What the hell's it matter?
yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean there definitely was an issue with um how those were marketed. And surprisingly, Garrett made a claim that just recently he did it on one of his lives or something, that there was 18 wild caught Kalatoas at Travis's house, and there's all these different lines. It's like, why would you even, why why are you digging this hole even deeper, dude? Just let
Yeah.
it.
There's nobody's produced anything.
Yeah,
There's no support for it. I mean, it's just what is the standard that's being set, and it's for the most case, it's paperwork of some type or messages, or
yeah,
somebody knows, and I've got a spreadsheet of individual snakes that I know are legitimate Kalatoa. I
yeah,
mean, that's how rare they are, and there's not that many. There's what, maybe 4 or 5 lines of like actual Kalatoas.
yeah.
There were 4 snakes that Daniel Solis had, different snakes
Mm-hmm.
came from DM Exotics. Then you had the Reach Dreams one, and that came from the same place. That came
Yeah,
from DM Exotics. You've got the Bushmaster that Sean McMillan
yeah,
has.
yeah. Those all
You
came
got
from
that
from
line.
Cameron.
You've got Lucas's line that he's got documentation on,
Yeah, that
and then
came
you've got
from
R&B line, your lines.
yeah. In my line, it came. I can't even. They're not even the importer that brought them in. I can't even think their name. They're not even around anymore.
What
Now that
state was it in? You
I want
remember?
to say they were California, and I can't
California.
I
Okay.
can't remember who the hell it was. That was so, dude. That was like 2006. That
Yeah,
was
the documentation. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, it's even like sometimes people are like, hey, I've got these Kalatoas, these new ones you didn't know about. It's like, really, you've been sleeping on Kalatoas for 7 years, and today you decide to tell us?
yeah. I get
I
a
I,
kick
I
out
really
all
don't
the
think so.
I get a kick out all the Karampas that have been popping up the last few years.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah. But
but
anyway, I my plans with those, because of how limited it is and the breeding age. Like right
mm-hmm,
now, I've got that wild caught female and her son that I could pair
mm-hmm,
up. Next year, the R&B line male, he would be old enough to breed more than likely, but I can't risk like say using another like a TK with that
yeah,
wild caught. Like she may have one breeding. Like I'll be lucky to get one more clutch from
yeah,
her. So it's got to be Kalatoa.
yeah. Just feed the shit out of her. Just feed
Yeah,
her a
that's what
bunch
I'm
for like a
thinking.
year,
She's
and
see, she's still growing. It's that
yeah,
pygmy line, but she's 8 feet when I got her, and she's still really small though. She's nowhere near the thickness
she
of
just
any other
thin.
Kalatoas. Like
Yeah,
she's pretty slender. She
yeah.
is small. She's like a large male.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if I got her out, you'd be like, is that a male?
Yeah. Yeah, that's neat. Well, I just Andrew has a super dwarf up here, and unfortunately, she just slugged out. And it's visibly a Madu, but there was no paperwork on it. It's
Uh,
like, but I bred it to. We're trying to start a Indo Sunfire project, so I bred an Indo Sunfire Super Tiger to it, and dude, she was little. Dude, she ain't even 6 foot,
Jeez.
and she wanted to breed. I was like, okay,
He had that Kalatoa that he bred real small, didn't he? That
yeah,
3-year-old.
yeah,
Twice even. That
yeah.
I talked to the guy that had her, because I knew he had her and I wanted to buy her, but I ended up I didn't do it, I had to wait a while. I had acquired a lot of snakes by that time, so
Yeah,
I guess she ended up going somewhere in Washington.
I forget. I forget where she went to. But the one I had here, I mean, she's not even 6 foot, and she laid 7 eggs. They were slugs,
Hmm.
but I was surprised she laid seven at that. I mean, she's literally 5.5 feet. I couldn't believe she. I was surprised she wanted to breed to begin with, and then yeah, she unfortunately she slugged out. But I'm gonna try to get. I need to put some size on her, so I'm gonna be feeding her pretty heavy for the next year.
Yeah, I'm still possibly trying to pair that wild caught snake up. I mean, I've
Really?
I've already put the her son in there, and it's going well. I didn't see any locks, but I started feeding her a bit more heavy, and
Yeah.
she's been hitting the cold side.
Oh,
So
okay.
he's probably going back in there.
Yeah. Everything went. This year everything went like 2 3 months later than usual because of the weather was so goofy, and it just everything. Usually stuff's really starting by October, and that shit didn't really start taking off till the end of November,
Yeah, you
December.
you guys are a bit cooler up there, right?
Yeah, and
Definitely a little bit earlier, I bet.
yeah, but I mean, it stayed warm long this year, so yeah, my stuff it was all 2 3 months off this year. A lot of people I've been talking to. I know a lot of Lucas's stuff hasn't even started breeding yet. So
Oh yeah,
yes,
I know he's got some all year round almost type of schedule. Some of them are going in the middle of summer, I think.
yeah,
I think the
yeah,
Slayatoas, that's when that started, middle of
yeah,
summer. But yeah,
yes,
aside from that, I mean, it's like I've got these adult snakes coming from California, right?
yeah,
A lot of my snakes have come from California, and they've got to get used to what's happening here. I paired up. I don't know if you've seen that picture, but it's a TK female that
mm-hmm,
Travis Cubis bred her, and she's just white, silver, and gray. And then I've got this male from Daniel Solis that's it's he sold it to me as anery, and it turns same colors, but it can turn its back pattern to like a bright banana yellow, which is crazy.
yeah,
So I
that's
paired
weird.
them up. And
Yeah, that.
they bred immediately in November.
Oh, really?
Yeah, immediately, like within a couple hours. He spurred like within an hour, and then, it's a lot of breeding since then. And she's actually, I don't know if she's got eggs in her or not, but she would be due to lay like this week or next week.
Yeah, you'll start if she's gonna lay. You'll know because she'll start to get her upper half will start to get kind of thin. She'll
This is
start to
what it's looking like.
yeah. She if her upper half's starting to get thin, starting to look like almost almost dehydrated, then yeah,
Okay.
the eggs are coming.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
her back half is like, noticeably larger. So I'm
yeah,
really hoping.
yeah. Well, that'll be neat. So that'll be what a TK and what's that? Well, wild caught from Daniel or
It's an F1. Its father was a fascination herp. He called it the lazy line anery. It
okay,
produced anery snakes, and the mother looks like a Madu.
okay,
It was sold to me as Kalatoa, but he said the documentation from the Florida exporter, he just doesn't have it anymore. And
yeah.
my it looks like a Madu to me. It could be, it could be Kalatoa, but the offspring that it made were incredible.
Hmm.
Like the vibrancy of the pattern is it's just I've not seen anything like it.
Yeah, I did do Kalatoa crosses a while ago, and they were really pretty.
Yeah,
They were definitely they were prettier than a Madu or a Calico. I mean,
yeah,
they were
those
just really nice
Medus,
looking.
they really influence the pattern. Like there's just something about that color they produce. It's really neat.
Yeah, yeah, they're neat animal. Are you going to start working with any other retic localities, or are you just going to keep it to Calitos?
I'm not opposed. Yeah, and I was going to bring this up. So you've got Madu and you've got Karampa.
Yeah.
So, in the absence of the availability of kalaotoas at the moment, I think it's really important that people keep those island chains, the species from there, keep
Yeah.
that project going. Even if you're crossing them, it's still the same species. So
Yeah.
if they all go into morphs, the like hybrid morphs, one day we'll be left with nothing,
Yeah.
in that species. So that's where I usually focus. It's on localities and diverse bloodlines.
Hmm. But you just going to stick with that island group, or are you going to branch out into some different stuff?
If I've been on the waiting list actually for some Karampas and Madus for a couple 3 years now, but
Mm-hmm.
I would probably wait a bit to get those. I mean, I think after a while I'd eventually get one. Like I
Mm.
would only need like one or two to really get some projects going. Like
Yeah.
with these corn islands and some of these Kalatoas and some of these aneries I'm gonna make, I'm probably gonna end up with a wall full of baby snakes that I'm
Yeah.
keeping.
Yeah, for sure. But are you going to work with any of the bigger localities, or you just want to
I
keep it all
so
small?
of those I really like Slayer.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, like when Lucas had that first batch, I was like, man, I don't know, I might need those, but that's a lot of snake for my house here.
Yeah.
When I get a facility, I'll probably get some of those, put them in big display cases.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So are you planning on like just doing a room in the house or add on, or what are you going to do?
I've got a whole room right now, and it's kind of branched down into like the upstairs living room. The goal is to get like a building in my backyard.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
it's like dedicated snake building. I even kind of want to get into importing a lot of green tree pythons and maybe some other places.
Yeah, yeah, that's man, it would be nice if somebody would start importing because I mean, with Cameron not really doing it anymore, there's just not the variety of shit
Yeah,
coming in that there used to be. And he used to get, he was always so good about getting me stuff and just working with me on things and I have never found another importer that's willing to kind of just get shit here, you
yeah,
know. A lot of the locality green tree pythons are all here because of him.
yeah. I mean,
You,
you
you
used to be
know?
able to get anything for pretty cheap too, but
Yeah.
it's really dropping off. Some of it's got to do with the war, like some of the battles and whatnot going on in those islands.
Yeah.
So they've been some of those localities been popping up again though. So that's when I got those cyclops. So I had to jump on those.
Yeah. How's their color?
They're pretty vibrant. The female has she's got the white and yellow spots down her back. She's got a faint blue stripe. The
Okay.
male has, some spotting down its back with some flowers, but a very much
Mm-hmm.
lighter blue. But they're both good examples of the locality. My goal is to get, maybe 3 to 4 of those and start breeding them. There are some localities I just want to make sure that we've got here because
Yeah.
one day we're not going to have this stuff anymore.
Yeah. At the rate we're going.
And
Yeah.
and like I don't want it to turn into the retic thing, like where in 10 years, we haven't been able to get them for 10 years, and now everyone's like, I have these snakes, but I have no paperwork.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping paperwork whenever I can.
Um. Yeah. I would hate to see that. I've been trying like hell to get into locality wagglers vipers,
Yeah.
and it's just that's been a nightmare.
Where
It's
where do those come from?
well, they got a big range. There's quite a few islands in Indo, and then all through the mainland. So I don't know how far north they go. I think they go quite a ways north. But yeah, I've been trying to get some stuff in, and because there was Bank of Bloods, those high red Bank of Blood, Bank of Island Bloods. You ever
No,
seen
I've never
them?
heard of this.
Yeah, Banca Islands. They like for some reason Banca always has like really pretty stuff. They have really nice red bloods, and somebody in Indo and in Java had posted a bunch of Banca Island wagglers,
Okay.
and I tried to get them, but it didn't
Oh,
happen. But yeah, I would love to. I like all that. I like that whole Tripitolamus genus. I really like all those animals. Um,
so are those arboreal or?
yeah, yeah, they're
Okay, yeah,
arboreal.
the arboreal vipers. There's so many that are so cool. You
Yeah,
can't beat a lot of those patterns they've got.
no, no, and wagglers are pretty neat. Yeah, I also like I think they're what killed scale or back something. I don't know. There's subannulatus is the scientific name. They're on Borneo, and I think they breed go over into Sola and then up into the Philippines. But the Borneo ones are really nice. I've been looking into a lot of that stuff lately.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I'd really like to start doing locality Indo tree boas too. I think,
That would be cool. Yeah.
yeah, because I mean they're super, dude. They're not very big. They're a boreal. They got a goofy look to them. You know what I mean? Like you can set them up in a bioactive exoterra. And I love my retics, but at the same time, I kind of got to get some stuff that's a
Yeah, I mean,
little more
I
pet
had nothing
friendly.
but retics for probably a year, and I'm like, I think I need to branch out a little bit.
Yeah,
I get so used to them before we started this show. I'm like how many retics do I have? Two or three? And I'm like, I went and looked at my list. I'm like, nine. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
I
They
get
start
so
to
used
add
to it.
up. They
Yeah,
start to add up quick. So, but so you're gonna try to hopefully get in maybe a Madu and a Karampa, and then keep your really try to keep the pure kalaotoas pure too, and
yeah.
just keep them rolling.
As far as legitimate projects go, I've got because that pairing that I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
earlier, they are both proven het. But
Annery.
they yeah, proven het anery, and they look anery to me like
Mm-hmm.
visually. So it's really possible that they all the babies could be anery.
Huh.
So if that happens, I'm sure I'm going to keep a few,
Yeah.
get get the highest percentage snow that I can find, and go in that make start making hets.
Yeah. I think Eric. I forget how high Eric is now.
We were talking about this earlier. He told me I want to say it was maybe 83 or something percent. It was getting up there.
Yeah, on his visuals, and I think he might be even higher on his double heads.
Yeah, I think like 87 maybe.
Yeah. So I think he's getting up there. So that'll be neat once he hits 90, man. That's a pretty big accomplishment to get up over 90% on a visual snow. So yeah, that's a lot
Yeah.
of years of work.
Yeah, he's been doing it forever. And I have almost no interest in morphs to tell you the truth, but I'm
Yeah.
like, if I have these and they're just sitting there, I'm like, I probably should start trying to make those for other people that do want that type
Oh
of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, at least pay your feed bills with the
Yeah.
babies.
I have no idea how much it would even cost to snow. I don't even follow the morphs in any fashion at all.
I don't know. It'd be quite for a high percentage. It'd be quite a bit. I
It
mean,
probably
it'd be
wouldn't
on.
be cheap.
Yeah, it'd probably be over 5,000. It wouldn't be too cheap at all.
Yeah, it'd
Um,
be worth it though.
yeah.
But as far as any other type of project, that same male that can turn really banana yellow, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna breed him to a TK female.
Okay.
Like the yellows are so vibrant on both of them. They're a different yellow. Like the TK is more orangish yellow,
Yeah.
and then it's got the white and silvers, and then this snake's got more of a silverish side. I think
Hmm.
the interaction of those colors that would be very cool.
Yeah, yeah, it would be neat, and they'll sell well too. And as long as you're not, which you wouldn't really have to charge too much on them.
Not for
You know.
those. There's pure super dwarf.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be some line breeding, I guess, but it'd be good pets, and
Yeah.
even if you need color in a small size for your projects, it would help you out as much as you could with a super dwarf anyway, just because
Yeah.
they don't have the color of the bigger ones.
Yeah. Especially if you're using them to cross into morphs, get a little bit of extra color.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I like the morphs. I like some of them. I really don't work with that many. But at the end of the day, I like pures. I really like the pure locality stuff. That's what I'm much more into than any of it.
I think
It's just
some of it's just like when they're not been interbred so much, they are very close to the way they would be in the wild. They're the way they behave.
yeah,
Once you start inbreeding the heck out of snakes, I mean, you get to the point where they don't even want to constrict food. They're very docile, which is good, but they lose that spark, I think, in a way. But they're a much better pet. But I like them wild, I guess you could say.
yeah,
You probably do too. You've got those halmas and all types of the ternates.
yeah, yeah. I kind of like a retic to act like a retic.
Me too.
What's
Yeah,
the point of having them if they don't?
yeah. It's that personality they got. It really
Yeah,
draws you in.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really just focusing on the ternates right now. I made a post on Retic Alliance a few days ago saying because I really think we're going to start seeing morphs pop up. Because
Oh,
there's
just
there
from those turnates, probably. I
well
bet.
just in general from people are working so heavily with localities now. I just really think that line breeding is gonna produce some morphs.
I don't doubt it. I think I read somewhere, somebody said it, like within the first two or three generations out of the wild, that's when the highest frequency of the new morphs will pop up.
Oh,
It,
really?
it might have been Glenn that was saying this. I could
Hmm.
be wrong.
Yeah, but no, I could see it because I'm seeing so many weird things in ternates, different color phases and stuff like that, and so many different patterns and colors. It's like, sooner or later people are going to start popping out new morphs. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, if I was I like ternates look so cool. I'd like to have one.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, like as like a display animal type of thing. But it's just a little bit more snake that I'm looking for. I
Yeah,
think
they're not too bad.
ideally, yeah, they're what are they like usually 12, 13 feet for
Yeah,
females.
that's yeah on the big end. Yeah.
That's not too bad.
No.
But yeah, I'm probably more looking for like the size of a real big carpet python.
Yeah. Yeah, even some of them super dwarfs, they get pretty good size.
Yeah, my biggest one is she's 9 feet.
Oh,
That
really?
TK.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah,
decent
so
sized snake.
yeah, I try to watch it with him. I definitely don't underfeed him. I like through breeding season, I didn't even feed her. She hasn't ate in over 3 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I bought a bunch of 1 pound rabbits and I thought
Mm-hmm.
they would be small, but they were a little bit bigger than she probably needed. And
Mm.
so she put on like when I paired her up, she's about the perfect weight. I'm like pretty sure she's gonna go. So
Yeah.
I'm like if I keep feeding her through this, she's gonna just turn too big. Yeah, I had to put my other TK female on a diet for about a year 'cause I tried a little too hard when she was too young, I think.
Oh.
She's getting back in real good shape though.
Yeah, once their growth starts to slow down, they really they put on weight very easily.
Yeah.
They get fat real easily once that growth is basically, just barely happening. They get yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a boa. I mean, 'cause it's real easy to put weight on boas,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not easy to get it off either.
No, I have my Peruvians, I just paired them up. I'm hoping they go.
Yeah, those are
Um,
cool snakes.
I'm not super into bows, but I've always liked Peruvian red tails. So
I
I'm
like red tails as well.
yeah, I really like the Peruvians for some reason. I always have. So I'm hoping they go. Uh, I'm hoping I get a clutch of from my Team Wars this year. Have you ever got into those? Those are such a
I
neat snake.
definitely have wanted them, but everybody talks about how like flighty and like they want to urinate like on you when you're trying to hold them. And I've
Yeah,
seen quite a few people hold them. I'm like, that thing looks pretty calm to me.
yeah. You got to work with them when they're little. And mine were already pushing probably 3 feet when I got them, and they weren't really handled, so they're jerk offs. They just piss on you and stuff constantly. The female's real nervous. She should be bigger
Wow.
than she is, but she'd get stressed out and go on a food hunger strike for a couple months. Then
Yeah,
eat for a couple months, then not eat for a couple months. So, but no, they're how old are those guys? They got to be at least 7, which I didn't realize I'd had them that long till I was looking it up. So they're 7 or 8 years old. So they're right there, ready to go. And they were locked up. They were breeding, and she's in shed right now. So I'm waiting to see when she comes out of the shed what exactly is going on. I kind of think it was her pre-ov shed,
okay.
not her prelay shed, because yeah, she seems to be getting more and more swollen as she went into shed. So yeah, so we'll see. I'm trying to Halmahara scrub pythons too. Those are cool
Well, cool.
snakes.
Yeah, scrubs are cool.
Yeah, they're a neat snake.
Yeah,
They're a real neat snake.
there's a few different localities of those. There's an island type that's got these really like I don't know. It's like bluish purple and some yellows in it. I guess it's very rare though. It's always the rare stuff that
Yeah,
catches me.
yeah. The Aru's got a lot of color, and you don't see them too much anymore.
Yeah, that's a snake I think would be, Steve Cush. He's really on top of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good. I think that type of breeding, these localities, it's really important right now because like I really don't think it's the likelihood that we won't be able to get them in here anymore for whatever reason, that definitely could happen.
Yeah.
So it's work that needs to be done.
Well, I have 6 Halmahara scrubs, so I'm
That's cool.
trying. I got a 3.3, and I got 2.2 paired up right now. I think it's really an age game with them. So they're not quite 10, but they're getting up there. Well, my one male, he's over 10, but the females aren't. So yeah, it seems like they need to be 7 8 years old for those wild caughts at least to get them to do anything.
Yeah, they're
So
they're they're such an interesting snake. I mean, they're so long and slender. I mean, it's
yeah,
like you ever try to get a snake out of a cage, like say a diamond python, or they like to wrap their tail around something. I
yeah.
can imagine a scrub python doing that stuff.
So you didn't hang on to your diamonds?
I didn't. I sold my diamonds and my black-headed pythons and my crawl key boas. The guy in Florida put big snake operation.
Yeah,
It's out of that Alan Craw. They were talking about it the other day, but that's who I sent them to. He takes real good care of them. He's got them great cages. So I'm glad they went down there. But it's kind of I did that so that I could get those wild caught kalaotoa
mm,
and its son and a few other of those retics. It's just I'm like it's going to be so much harder to get those every year going forward. So I'm like I better just do it now
yeah,
with the
yeah. I was gonna get
diamonds.
yeah, I was gonna get diamonds, and I looked into how you have to breed them. I'm like, I'll fuck that up. They're
They're
like,
they're actually that's probably the easiest snake I've ever kept. The
yeah,
only thing that's tough about it is I had them, upstairs, and then I had an air conditioner, which, no problem. But I had to keep them in my garage in the wintertime in a different cage. So
yeah,
it's the kind of the logistics. Do you have two cages, or can you move the cage?
yeah,
But
yeah. I looked into all that. I'm like, this is way too much
yeah,
work.
I got one of those VivTech temperature monitors. I kept it in there to make sure it was getting reliably to 53 at night.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I kept those records to give to that guy because I know it's important that you get them cold.
Yeah, yeah. Then if you feed them when you're bringing them out of the cold, they'll throw up, possibly die. I was like,
Yeah,
nope.
you got to make sure the stomachs are empty and everything.
Yeah,
I did not feed them the whole. I don't think you should probably feed them in the winter. I know a
no.
lot of people are doing that. I did not, and I kept three of them in the same cage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're completely fine. I mean, the colder it gets, at first you might be afraid to drop them like that. The
Yeah,
colder it gets, the more active they become.
really.
It's oh yeah, you like say the first time, like it got to like 65 in my room at night. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's probably pretty cold for snakes. I went and looked; they're just crawling around everywhere. And
Mm,
then when I put them out in my garage, it was like 50, 55 or so. They're just acting like it's 85 out.
wow.
Yeah, they do not act like they're cold ever.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, they're just crawling around like it's the middle of summer. It's weird.
Yeah, that's nuts. But
Yeah,
yeah, I always liked them, but I just finding a place to put them for those few months.
yeah, that's the
I
thing.
was like, nah, this I won't be able to do it properly, so I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, that's when I get that snake building. I'm gonna have one room that's for cold stuff like diamond pythons and Sanzinia. I'd like to get
Hmm.
some green Sanzinia. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I like a lot of the mandarin rat snakes and stuff like that, and that
I,
stuff all
I
needs
am
some.
into that stuff too.
Yeah, that stuff all needs some cooler temps. Um, what are those? What are those red ones? Those
It's
mountain.
like Thai red racers or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Those are
I know
neat.
what you're talking about. Those are
Those are really
cool.
neat animals.
I like those
But yeah,
cave dwellers too.
yeah. But you got to keep all. Yeah, you get that shit gets a little bit too warm, it'll die.
Well,
Y-
yeah, I've not. I have to read books before I get anything. I'm
Yeah,
that type of person.
yeah. So
I'd have to
that's
look more into it.
yeah. If I had a separate room, I would keep that stuff. But you'll be. It's real easy to kill that shit if you get it too warm.
So you just do it all in your house, or do you got a building?
I have my house is actually 3 apartments.
Okay.
So the downstairs I kind of just hollowed out, and that's my snake room.
Okay. Cool.
But
That's
I think I'm
a
gonna
setup.
run a wall I'm considering running a wall and splitting it into two snake rooms, to be honest, because I'm downsizing retics a little bit, so I think I'm just going to split them into their own room, and then because it's more of a safety thing too, because um, if something would happen to get out, they knock shit over, and I don't want them knocking
Yeah.
over a rack full of venomous snakes.
Oh god, that would be terrible.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's. I think I'm just going to split the rooms and have it so if something ends up popping a door off or something, they can't
Yeah.
do too much damage.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So, but yeah, because I do want to work. I do want to work with a little bit more venomous stuff. That's just for my. I like it. You know what I mean. I'm not gonna be trying
There's
to get
some
rich off of it or nothing.
interesting stuff out there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of. I was hoping my Sri Lankan pit vipers would go this year, but the males they're just they need like one more year, so
So
the
that's a
males a little
live
small.
birth, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they're
Is it?
live.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're live. Yeah, live birth is kind of nice.
Yeah.
I never really worked with much live birth stuff, but I bred some doom rolls and stuff years ago. I was like, this is kind of convenient. I
Yeah,
don't
I
got to
mean
worry
it's
about a fucking incubator. I don't got to
well,
worry about
yeah,
none
when
of
it's
that
an
bullshit.
egg, it's like even if the female's incubating them herself, I mean
Yeah,
it's like there's literally an egg that I have to watch at all times.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
definitely
So
harder, I would think.
yeah, so it's yeah, the live birth is kind of convenient. It makes a mess, but it's still kind of
Yeah.
convenient. So, but yeah, because I do have Amazon tree boas.
Oh,
I
cool.
got some females. I need to get a red male. I need a one or two wild caught red males. So I'm waiting for some of those to come available. And
Every
uh,
now and then, yeah, there's some really cool ones.
yeah, I just like the red ones. I just want to breed red ones. So just that's what
Okay.
I like.
So
So
if you breed a red one, like a red one to a red one, will they all be red or are they just all crazy colored anyway?
um, I I'm not 100. I think it all depends on what all the other traits are in there. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like if I think you can selectively breed reds to make reds, but I think it
Okay.
probably takes a generation or two, from what I understand.
I listened to I think MJ was talking to somebody on his podcast about it, and it was I'm like I didn't quite follow it at the end. I'm like
Yeah,
it sounded interesting. It
yeah,
didn't, yeah, it's they just pop out so many crazy colors, and I think it's just like the wild variation.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure you can do. Yeah, I'm sure you can make whole litters of red with enough selective breeding. But it
Yeah,
probably takes
they're
it probably
making some
takes a
really
little
neat.
while.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, because none of that shit's random. You know what I mean? It's like
Right, it's
there's
for a purpose. Like,
yeah, so there's genetics in there creating what it's creating. So you just have to remove them if you don't if you don't want the other colors. So
yeah.
I'm guessing it probably takes a generation or two. I don't know for sure, but
I
I'm
mean,
guessing
it
it takes
sounds
a.
like something I need to read about.
Yeah,
Sounds
and
pretty
I've
interesting.
never really looked into it. I just assumed that you can either get a whole litter of reds or a significant number of reds out of a litter after a couple generations of selectively breeding reds, but
Mhm.
you know, because it's just seems like how pretty much everything else works. You just kind of isolate the traits you want and just keep breeding for it. So
Yeah.
but they're a cool snake. They're a real manageable size snake. So yeah, so once I have downsized the retics enough to fit them into half of the room, then I'll put the wall up, and then I'll be getting more species in to work with for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a good setup. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I got to get another mini split heat pump, and then I'll be set. So
Yeah, I had just looked into those for that building. I don't know what kind of setup I'm gonna have, but yeah, I
well,
seen
if
you got that endorsement with the mini splits.
oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, if you need help with that, let me hit me up.
All right.
We can run the numbers and figure out exactly what
Okay.
you need.
Yeah, I'm making some designs for a building, so I'll send them over and then maybe take a look at square footages and whatnot.
Yeah,
Hot room, cold room.
yeah, that'd
Be
be cool.
cool.
Yeah, and it depends on how high the ceilings are too. You got to factor all that stuff in. So you on an 8 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot? What are you thinking you're doing?
Probably, I would want to go probably like 8 foot. I know a lot of people have got taller buildings, but it's like, really, what am I going to do with it? It's probably just more air
Well,
to heat or cool.
well, with retics too, like you don't want them stacked high, because that's
No.
just fucking face
Yeah,
bites.
I put all the big females like on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, because
I want them going for my legs.
yeah, I won't stack. I'll only go three cages high on bigger cages. I will not, you know, I don't want to have to be on a ladder to get a snake out. Like that's
Yeah,
just a
that's not sound
recipe.
safe.
That is just a recipe for disaster.
I've
So
heard about that, and I've heard of some horror stories about that
yeah,
too.
yeah. So I won't do that. But yeah, yeah. No, we can definitely get that. We can definitely get that all set up. And yeah, that company was real cool. I hit them up and I explained to him. I was like, listen, I've been recommending these to everybody for years. Like, what do you got for an affiliate program? They're like, oh, we can do this. And then they made a whole separate page for just, standard size rooms and stuff for me. I was like, oh, so they're real cool about it. So,
Yeah, that is really interesting. There is quite a bit of room to improve this hobby. I mean,
oh
it's
yeah,
just a lot of it's got to do with just talking to people.
yeah. And the other thing is like, I didn't want to promote anything that I wouldn't actually legitimately recommend. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's like, I've been
that's a good
trying to find,
philosophy.
I've been reaching out to companies that, I personally use or I'd personally recommend you use, and, I don't want to just push random shit. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Like if I don't think it's good, I'm not going to tell you it's good.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I get people asking me snake questions all the time. I know what they want to hear, but I'm like I don't tell them what they just want to hear. I kind of
yeah. They get a little bit mad sometimes when you do that.
yeah. It's like well, it's like sorry. Like
Well,
they
a lot of people too, like, we'll take the TK shit. A lot of people really didn't handle that information well. You know,
yeah. It's even myself. I was like I don't know about this.
um, who the fuck is blowing up my phone? Um, but you know what I mean? It was like, well, it's just information. You know what I mean? I mean, I understand why, because some people really paid some premium prices for some stuff, and
I was fortunate to not be in that boat.
oh,
So
really?
yeah, I did not know. I was very fortunate when I acquired my snakes. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were not though.
Yeah, and if it wouldn't have been, I think if it wouldn't have been pushed so hard that it was like the premium line of Kalatoa that like
Yeah,
this is the line, you know what I mean? And then
yeah.
and then I remember when I remember when Lucas said he was going to do that. I'm like, yeah, yeah, like
Holy
whatever.
jeez. Yeah, that blew up big.
I'm turning my phone off that week.
Me and him had couple 2 hour conversations. I think about it. I'm like, because I'm an accountant. I've worked in auditing, and it's a lot of verifying information.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I'm thinking about this in terms of business. I'm like, well, we've used this standard for so long. I'm like, what are you just changing it today? you know, I'm like, for on what grounds? So I was
yeah,
really looking into it. In the end, I'm like, sure, there's no documentation, so how can you stand on that? There's nothing to stand on.
yeah.
So I'm fine with it in the end. And but
Well,
what
they're
it did
definitely
though,
super doors. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not
and
like
they're
they're
still
not.
great. They look
They're
great.
from one of those four islands for sure. So there's a
Yeah,
25% chance that they actually are Galatoa. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're either because it's either Karumpa, Karumpa, Kalatoa, or Madu. It's one of them,
And
hundred
then
percent.
and then you saw the flurry of people just fire selling them, just I don't know, like just the lowest price you could imagine. It's
Yeah,
like really, yeah. I'm just like whoa. Um, but yeah, and then they're all gone, and like right now, there's not many out. Somebody was asking me for one the other day. Somebody was going to trade me one, but then they took pictures and they're like, I think I'm going to keep this thing. I'm like, yeah, they look pretty great, don't they?
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, in my opinion, they didn't really lose value because of the information that came out. Like to me, they're still a pure super dwarf, and they still have a lot of potential. So, because in my mind, they were never what Garrett said they were. In my mind, they were always what I knew they were, which was a super dwarf, but Travis just wasn't 100% sure which island. So for me, nothing changed because,
Yeah.
there was no new information came out that I didn't know about. So, and I still saw them as having their value that I still think they have. So, You know,
Yeah, I mean
they're
it's they look the best. I mean
yeah,
they've got the most color.
yeah, yeah. They do have nice colors, and there's a small retic, they're a manageable size retic, and you can keep breeding them together. You can cross them into other stuff and make some smaller morphs. Like, yeah,
Yeah, they're
you know, their value is what it is, and if maybe people will learn a lesson about not jumping on hype,
yeah,
in the future, maybe they'll start to ask a couple questions before they buy something out of because
and
it was hyped up.
those things were priced real high. Those things are like 4,000 a female from
Yeah,
certain places,
yeah.
and those people that were just selling them, that's what they paid. I seen them going for as low as $1,000 for a female. It's like really,
Wow.
yeah, quite a few times too. That's a
Yeah,
lot of money.
that sucks. Yeah, to lose 75% of your value like that.
And it wasn't really necessary either. They just
No.
arbitrarily said, "I don't want them, $1,000."
Yeah. Because you could just keep breeding TK to TK and have pure TK line.
Yeah,
You
that's.
know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's only gonna last so long though. A lot of people are outcrossing them now.
Yeah.
It's there because eventually you'll get some genetic defects, and like I think like if we don't start outcrossing this stuff, sooner than later, one day you're gonna be left with in the situation of diamond pythons where
Yeah.
there's a lot of inbreeding that happened.
Yeah. Or like the Indian pythons. Those are
Yeah,
few and
I've
far
heard.
between.
Yeah, those are
A lot
really
of those
cool.
died. A lot of
That's a
those had a lot of
shame.
issues.
Yeah, it's people. Yeah, it would have been great if people would have taken better care of those. Just kind
Yeah.
of preserve the lineages there.
Well, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20 on this
Right.
shit. You know what I
We thought
mean?
we'd
Is
always have it.
yeah. Yeah, and then like, like the thing with retics, like nobody wanted that wild caught shit, and then all of a sudden you couldn't get it, and
Oh yeah,
then the
it's
prices went through the roof, and then everybody wanted it because of the
yeah,
prices
it's
went through the roof, and I was
the
like, well,
wild caught stuff. It's real expensive.
yeah, and yeah, it was just unfortunate. It's like, well, nobody wanted Karampas when they were $1,500 a pair for wild caughts, but now everybody wants them at 10K a pair for F1s or F2s, and it's like, you
Yeah,
could have just got them.
once I got into these kalaotoas and I'm like, well, that price for those snakes, I'm like, I'll just wait a while. I'm
Yeah,
like, they're almost the same thing as a Kalatoa. They're the same species. I mean, even the patterns amongst those islands, if you mixed them all up and told someone, tell me which islands these came
it's
from,
tough.
yeah,
It's fucking real tough.
yeah,
The only way I can usually ever truly identify a Karampa is by its head, and that's it. They have a slightly different head shape, but outside of that, man,
yeah,
it's tough. It is
yeah. I mean,
really tough, and I'm better at identifying localities than most people. And I can tell you right now, like especially Kalatoa and Madu, there's a lot of similarities there, and it's easy to be like, oh,
I,
and you
I
get
I
that
can
wrong.
just recall like several pictures where you would think this one is a Kalatoa or this one is a Medu, but it's the opposite
Yep, yep, it's the opposite. That's well, everybody looks at the problem is everybody looks at like the one line of Madu in the country, right?
with the
And
open back pattern.
yeah, and it's like, well, this is what they look like. It's like, well, no, that's what.
That one looks like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
line.
it looks. Yeah, it's that old female that I had. That's how her back pattern looked. It's real
Even
obvious.
even in the bigger species, they carry the same patterning. They
Yeah.
carry variations of it. The
Oh
the
yeah.
bigger the bigger ones seem to have more variation in the pattern, but the smaller subspecies they all have some degree of variation, and there's it's so tough to tell. Like
Yeah.
there's like what 30,000 islands or something over there.
There's 16,000 on Indo, and then there's 5 or 6 in Philippines, and then Malaysia and that area. There's islands up and down the coast on each side. So, we have no idea how many actual uh, you know dwarf and super dwarf retics are out there. Like, because I always there's there's a couple islands right by Ternate. There's Hyrie, and two start with an M that I can't remember their names off the top of my head. And there's the one little island in between Ternate and Tadori. If there's retics there, they're super doors. You know what I
I think
mean?
I've heard you talk about these before. That would be so cool if somebody
Yeah,
went and checked it out.
yeah,
I bet there is more. There are more super
oh
doors
yeah,
out there.
yeah. I guarantee there's tons of super dwarf type stuff out there. But it would just be so neat to find a different super dwarf size animal with different
Yeah,
colors
they'd
and
probably be more vibrant too over
yeah,
there.
yeah, and something coming out of the northern Moluccas. I mean, if you could get a straight super dwarf size animal with a color and pattern of a ternate,
Yeah,
like
that'd be crazy.
that's I'm kind of on the fence on whether or not I really would want us to get importation back, but there's a part of me that's like, I
Yeah.
would love to see what else is out there and have an opportunity to work with it. And I
The
like not even
only
necessarily from that monetary standpoint, but just from
yeah,
the I want it. You know
it
what I mean?
would what would happen is it would kind of decimate the current market we have, except for probably the morphs.
Yeah.
And then but we would get in a lot of cool snakes.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't care if my stuff lost value because we could get importation. Because, everybody not to be a dick, but everyone's so fucking stupid. They'd all be trying to get the same like four islands, and I'd
my
be like,
fear would be all these giant snakes going to these random people that can
yeah,
afford them now.
yeah,
Yeah, the giant snake factor. I mean, there's certain people that should have these, I think, and a lot of people that shouldn't.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, well, a lot of people just don't realize what they're getting into. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't think they do. These snakes are on another level.
Yeah. But like I said though, if we could get importation back, like everybody
I'm
would want,
for it.
yeah, everybody would want the super dwarfs and Solayers and Solas and maybe some Ballies. I wouldn't try to get any of that stuff. I mean,
You'd probably
there's
get dwarf worms back as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's the islands, Sanjai Island group north of Sola. Siao Island has awesome looking snakes. Then off of in between Borneo and Sumatra, there's the Riau Islands. They have really neat looking snakes. That'd be the stuff I'd be going for.
Yeah,
It's like,
you've really researched into that, haven't you? In the
yeah,
past, trying to get them over here.
yeah, 20 years of researching it.
Yeah, that's
Dude, and
cool.
there was no fucking information when I started researching this shit. Zero fucking information. And it was,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for Facebook and all those people in Indonesia that I talked to on Facebook, because they would just like daily just be like, well, here's something from this island, here's something from this island, and I was like, holy fuck, like there's like so many more retics out there than we even can imagine. Like
I bet.
I
Yeah.
remember the first time somebody showed me a picture of a ternate, I was like, I got to get these, and it took 3 years. It took me 3 years to get some here,
Oh, I bet
and
you're happy when you did get them, though.
oh yeah, when I first saw them, I was like, holy shit. I was like, I knew this was a good idea. But,
That's the
nobody
best project we've got going here. Is what you got with those turnates.
yeah,
The
especially for
diversity,
longevity.
it can't be beaten.
Yeah. Yeah, and it would be nice to get importation back just so we could, even if like they limited it to like, each importer can only bring in 50 retics.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean? Just
something reasonable.
yeah, because if they did that, then we'd only be getting new localities and new morphs. We wouldn't be getting 100 lots of fucking farm hatch Sumatrans.
Right.
I mean, we wouldn't be getting any of that shit.
There's no need for it. We've got
No,
plenty of big snakes here.
no, there's plenty of unwanted fucking retics
Right.
here already. Um, but, and that would be so nice to be able to, you know, just be able to get some new stuff in and, you know, even the central Malukus, like anything from that region, from central up to into northern and then north of Sulawesi. I mean, well, there's Garong Archipelago and Watabella island group. I never got to see pictures of them, but some people in Indo had told me like, hey, there's some retics there, and supposedly even Key Island has retics.
No
And
kidding. I think that's for the scrub
yeah,
locality.
that's that goofy scrub. And some of the
Yeah.
some of the Key Island scrubs, because we have hardly any here, are actually really, really high orange. But those are all super dwarf size islands. And
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it would be, it would be nice. It would be nice to be able to get that shit.
definitely.
So, But so you think you're going to stick it out with just the super dwarf stuff? You don't think you're going to branch into maybe Solayers, no Tambalongans, no Halmas, none of that stuff, huh?
I Tummelongans were on my list, and I saw some on Fauna Classifieds,
Yeah,
and I told a couple people about them, just to make sure they were going to somebody that's gonna make sure that they are continued on.
yeah.
Because I knew, like, if I didn't do that, some random person they're gonna end up in their basement. We'll never hear from them again.
Yeah, oh yeah, somebody had a pair for like $1,800 or something.
Yeah, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
They
Garrett
were
bought them all.
really good price.
Yeah, yeah. Those were dirt cheap. Yeah, supposedly Garrett grabbed them right away.
Yeah, I told him and Lucas about them.
I'm surprised Lucas didn't jump on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I messaged them both, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
just need to know. I know one of these guys will buy them.
yeah. I would have grabbed them at that price.
Oh, no kidding. I would have told you.
Yeah,
I'd
I would.
probably
Yeah,
just
at
go to the
1,800
tournament.
bucks, I would have just grabbed them.
I definitely would have told you first.
Yeah, because there's no like that's stupid cheap. There's no
Yeah,
reason they should have been
they were
that
they were
low.
like ready to breed too,
Yeah,
like just
yeah,
coming up on it.
yeah, yeah. The only problem with them, those are super bottlenecked genetically.
Yeah, there's only one line, right?
Yeah, and the ones here are F1s, so we don't even have any wild caughts here. They're all from
Yeah,
one breeding in Germany.
yeah, when it's one line, I mean, it's only and that's rough. I mean, what are you gonna
Yeah,
do when they start having king tails, and then they got to go to morphs to
yeah,
outcross?
yeah, yeah. So you work with what you got until you can't do it anymore. That's
I'd say it'd be Slayers probably, maybe Slayers, maybe some Ternates that I would get
mhm,
into in the future.
yeah. Yeah, they're I recommend the Ternates for sure, man. You get a lot of variation in those guys.
Yeah, if one day if I see you got some really nice ones, I'd probably get them.
Yeah,
Gotta
I'm
have my
working
building though.
yeah, I'm working on some different back patterns this season. So, I don't know I'm not really expecting much out of my wild caughts though. They're getting older.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah. I mean, because we lost importation for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
So like the one I've got, like that wild cow, I'm like maybe one more time she could breed.
Yeah.
One, two if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So I
And
gotta.
I just don't think, a lot of like some people are like, "Oh, they just keep breeding." It's like that hasn't been my experience.
After 14, you're gonna be real lucky, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, unless it didn't start breeding until about 12. You
Yeah.
know, you get a few clutches in, before that age, it's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's
if
tough
they've
and
already had like three, you'll be lucky to get another probably for
yep.
sure. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking at. She's had three already.
yeah. So, that's what I worry about is I don't even worry about it. I like the ternates and I like my
Yeah,
wild caughts and if they produce again, great. If they don't, that's fine too. I'm not
yeah.
worried.
I've got her son. He's it's two different wild caughts. So
Hmm.
the good thing is though, that R&B line I got, it looks just like the dad that made that F1 that I've got.
Okay.
It's got that really cool zigzag pattern, except it probably looks even better. So it would make some really cool snakes.
Well, I was trying to prove out the wild caught male from that line was really small. He was a true only 6 foot super dwarf. He just wouldn't grow, and he looked to be like some kind of marble type
Okay.
morph. And he threw crazy babies, and I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of morph popped up out of that line eventually. And
It's
he had a
got a
lot of silver.
different. There's
What's that?
something different about the color to him. It's
Yeah.
neat.
And the female she was real high silver too. Because I thought I was going to produce. When I finally got them to lay a good clutch after like I forget how many years of breeding them and not getting clutches, um, I thought I was producing the first clutch of pure kalaotoa anneries. And even when they came out, well, everybody thought they were anneries, but they weren't. But no, like yeah, that was in that male. I'll have to dig out some pictures and send them to you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him.
he was literally. I mean, he was smaller than most adult bull snakes. I mean, he was a very very little animal.
That's cool. That's that really yellow male that I've got. He's
Hmm.
5.5 feet.
Really?
Yeah, and most of the time, and you know this when you're talking to the retic people about how long is your snake, you need to
Hmm.
add on or another foot or two minimum
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah, for the super dwarfs, yeah.
Yeah, but
You have to
this
take four
guy,
foot off for when you're talking to the mainland people. There used to be the other way. Never know everyone's lying about how small their retics are. Everyone used to lie they all had 20-footers.
oh yeah, yeah. No,
That's
he was
funny.
he was lay down against 6 foot cage, and there's about 6 inches left. He was
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he is strong. He is super strong. It's crazy.
Hmm. Yeah, those little males are nice. I got I think it's a Macmillan line up here on breeder loan right now from Andrew. He's little. He's maybe 6 feet. Yeah, he's a little animal.
Yeah, that one I had was a Macmillan line that I sent him to Brian Fontaine. He's about 6.5 feet.
Hmm.
He was anery, and but he had bitten me before. He's he's a little bit
Yeah.
jumpy in a way because I don't know. I tried to hold him when I first got him, but he wasn't really having it, so I just let him stay in there.
Hmm.
When Brian got him, he lit everybody in the room up, I guess. He was biting everyone. But
Yeah.
I talked to Brian today, and he said no, he's a puppy.
Oh, he turned around.
Oh yeah, he would not give you any trouble unless you were messing with him.
Hmm.
So yeah, I could tell that he would probably be pretty calm if somebody that had more experience would get him out.
Yeah.
He was trying to manhandle the hook, so I'm like, I'll just let you stay in there for now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
guess he's
that's
a real
neat. So
good snake.
so you're looking at a potential clutch this year, maybe two,
Yeah,
and then
litter of
next.
boas.
Yeah. Okay. And then you're just gonna keep with that pure game plan.
Yeah, pretty with the retics. I think I've got a lot of what I need
Yeah.
actually. The only thing that I would pick up is if there's some legitimate lines of Kalatoa.
Hmm.
It's hard for me to turn something like that down, and it's
Yeah.
definitely worth having. Madhu's Karampas. I'm probably gonna get one of each or a mix,
Mm.
a male or something, and just some genetic diversity for these super dwarfs. That
Yeah.
subspecies that because people are like they don't recognize the value right now, but even though it's not locality, it's still not a hybrid,
Yeah.
and they're the smallest ones, so they are going to become more spread out unless somebody starts breeding them rather than just breeding them into random morphs or selling them to random people. If you don't get something established that we can keep for a long time, we're just going to lose it like we always do.
Yeah. So you're not really worried. This isn't really a monetary thing for you. This is more preservation of.
It's more I really love snakes. Like I talked to you in the past, like what got you into the snakes again? I'm like, well, I knew that I kept coming back to snakes. I'm like, why? I'm like, why do I keep doing this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I thought about it. I'm like, it's not the morphs, it's the behavior, the wild
Hmm.
behavior, the wild patterns. That is what keeps me interested. And so I'm doing what keeps me interested. I love to do it. I don't ever look at it as work. I just like it a lot. And I also wanted to replace my job. Like I like it so much more than accounting. It's to a degree it's money, but it's something it's like a part of me. It's like it is you.
Yeah.
It's whatever it is that can keep, help me have a living, or if I could go down part-time at work, that's fine. Or if it's always, I have a full-time job and this, it's still like I have to do it.
Yeah.
I love it that much. I hate to try to say that it's my passion.
Hmm.
I've anytime you hear somebody say that, it's like the next year they've completely sold out of all the
I
snakes.
know. Yeah. It's
Like
it's more.
it must not be
Yeah.
my passion because I'll be doing this till I die.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I kind of. Yeah. I don't want to say it's cringy, but it's almost like.
Yeah.
When they start talking about your passion, it's like okay. Oh,
Right.
okay. You know what I mean? I don't even look at it like that. It's just something I do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like I have snakes. It's what I do.
Yeah,
I don't even think about it in terms of liking it, disliking it. It's just
it's
basically
it's
part of what
weird.
I
It's
do.
like being like a different skill than other people. Like
Yeah.
they're engineers, they're computer programmers. We're snake people. We can do what other people cannot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of yeah, and you can always tell like the people that are like usually the people that are in this long term, they started as a kid You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
a lot of the people, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of the people that don't get into it till later in life, they typically don't stick around very long.
Unfortunately, people that don't even like snakes can be very successful with this.
Yeah.
They turn it into like factory work. They have no compassion.
Yeah.
It
Ball
becomes very
pythons did that.
industrialized. Yes, ball pythons come
Do
to
you do you
mind.
remember do you remember what it used to be like before the ball python market? It was totally different industry.
Yeah, yeah,
Totally different general mindset in reptiles was completely fucking different
yeah. It
before
was
the ball python industry.
there. It was you could go to like a show or to like a reptile shop, and there would be a huge variety.
Yeah, all kinds of shit.
And there would be normally pattern ball pythons, like maybe
Yeah.
4 or 5. But you
Yeah.
go to the reptile show now, it's 75% ball pythons. I'm like, I'm at the ball python show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean nothing against ball pythons, but the amount of money surrounding it has brought in a lot of not really they're not really a lot of people aren't really necessarily reptile people.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? And
They
that's
don't even require those skills.
no, because yeah, ball pythons. I mean, they're a snake for
They're
people that don't like snakes.
they're domesticated.
Yeah, they're kind of like this. I mean, nothing. I like ball pythons and all, but it's just I don't know. I just remember what it was like before the ball python industry, and it was so much. Everybody was so into what they were into, and there was not really much hype. Maybe with like albino berms and some stuff, but it was just you didn't. And not everything had to be a morph. Like
And you couldn't really afford anything if it
no,
was like some crazy more. If it was like $20,000 or $30,000
yeah.
back then.
And people were really into like species, and that's one of the things
Yeah,
that I think was kind of has been lost a little bit in
I agree.
reptiles is people are into whatever's going to make them the most money. They're not necessarily into species. In 80s, 90s, even into the early 2000s, and further back into the 70s, people kept and bred what they liked, not what they thought was going to make them the most money, not what was popular at the time. It's what they
Right.
liked. That's what they kept, and I do kind of miss that mentality. That was much more prevalent across the industry than it is now.
And this, I've been kind of contemplating on this for a while. So I'm like, I recognize that what I do is a bit different, even though it's retics.
Yeah,
What I'm doing is very different than all the people breeding morph retics.
yeah,
And they're bigger, but also I see the problem of these shows where it's all ball pythons,
mm-hmm,
where it originally intended to only sell online. Once I
mm-hmm.
once I start having clutches, I'm like, I need to develop my own market. So I really do need to
Yeah.
get to these shows and
Oh
talk
yeah,
to
you
people.
definitely need to get to shows. Hey, I have to piss real quick.
Oh,
But so yeah, so you're gonna try to start branching out into shows, a little
yeah,
bit more of that kind of stuff. And have you thought about like doing your own website or any of that
oh
kind of stuff?
yes,
Did you?
definitely. I think we need more of that.
Yeah,
It used to be more common, but I think like you need to have something that gets people excited about what you've got.
yeah,
Like because like I'll go to websites and where they're actually still around or
mm-hmm.
whatever information I can on any species I'm interested in, and I just look at it all the time. Like I just try to learn as much as I can about stuff.
Yeah. I've
That
been trying to
also,
put out more and more. I try to put out
yeah,
information on my
you have your
website.
website. It's a good website too.
Yeah, and I'm constantly trying to add to it. I just found a bunch of different locality pictures on my computer that I'd forgot about.
No kidding.
Um, So I got to get those all up on the website. There tons of shit. I came across. I mean, it was like hundreds of pictures that I'd found on my computer. I downloaded an old phone and stuck it in a file, and I came across it. I was like, holy shit! I mean, there's a
Yeah,
ton of stuff just in that. I was like, man, I can put a whole nother page of localities up on my website, and
that's cool.
yeah. So I'm definitely going to be continuing to add to that. I'm trying to make my website basically the largest free source of information for retics, like in one place, and just put it out there. Because
That's
if
pretty cool.
Facebook gets pissed and takes a fucking
Yeah,
page down, like I lost my R&B Reptiles Facebook page. There
no
was a
kidding.
ton of shit on there.
No way. Yeah,
Yeah, so
Facebook is almost counterproductive to what we do.
yeah. Yeah, I lost all those locality pictures, all kinds of shit was on that page. And when they took down the original Indonesian Retic page,
I've
man,
heard you talk about this.
we lost. Yeah, that was
That's
that was
bad.
the
I
largest
know.
source. That was the largest source of locality information, and it wasn't even trying to be. It
I
just
can't believe they didn't give it back.
nope.
It's
Nope, I didn't
crazy.
get my page back. They didn't get their page back, and I mean, there was so much information on that page, and that sucks. But so Facebook can't take down my website,
Yeah.
so I just been trying to get shit on there, so for people and just to be able to go to and at least have something,
Yeah, I
you know.
definitely intend to make a website. It would be good.
Yeah. Are you gonna get into social media at all?
I have Instagram. It's on
Okay.
James Tosetti.
Okay. Are you thought about maybe a YouTube? Start really
Oh,
putting, even if you do shorts or something, just quick
I'd
little video.
probably I'd probably have to have had a bit more success, breeding.
Yeah.
There's a lot I could talk about, but if I'm not talking to someone like we are now, like I don't know
Yeah.
if I could do it
Oh,
very
really?
easily. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah. It
maybe if
sounds.
my wife was asking me questions. My wife helps me. I couldn't do this without her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, she's great.
Yeah. See, I'm usually okay. Um, I can pretty much off the cuff do shit with retics. Now, if it's something that I don't know as much about, it's a little tougher for me.
I bet if I had like a topic for the day and like some
Yeah.
camera, I bet I do some shorts, about
Oh, yeah.
10 minutes or so.
Yeah. I recommend that, man. I recommend. That's what the one thing I tell all the new people. I'm like, fucking get a website and fucking get on and just start a YouTube channel and just get your shit out there. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I was planning on doing it after like my first litter or clutch, but
Yeah.
maybe I should do it first.
Yeah. Yeah. Let people follow it. Let people follow your breedings. Talk about stuff. I also show, a lot of people don't show when they want to talk about when they get a slug, get a clutch of slugs, or they fail miserably.
Yeah,
And I show all that too. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I probably would. I mean, because it's not all like just success for sure.
No,
It's
no. I show all the shit that goes wrong too. Like, if I get a bad clutch or something goes wrong in the incubation, I don't pretend like that shit doesn't happen. I talk about it, you know. And maybe that'll help a new person if something goes wrong for them not to get discouraged because if they think all the people who've been doing it forever are just not having all this shit go wrong, well, that's not the case. There's always shit going
yeah,
wrong.
it's like me. It's I come from the school of like preventative care. That's what they
Yeah.
used to preach when I was growing up. So I do everything I can to make sure my snakes don't get sick. I am like a meticulous hand washer.
Hmm.
When I go in the snake room, I probably wash my hands 40 times. It's no joke. I just
just
don't
get
let
just
it.
get just get the gloves and fucking take them off in between
I
each
don't go
animal.
that far, but the only time I don't wash my hands is when I intentionally want the germs from another snake to contact the other, so that
Yeah.
if I intend to breed them in the future, I don't want there to be any surprises.
Yeah.
I want to know if they're going to be okay.
Yeah,
What
usually if
better?
there's something in your collection, it shows up. You.
I've not had any illnesses in my collection, and it's
Oh, that's good.
yeah, it's I think it's got a lot. Just if you snakes just don't get sick. I mean, if you
No.
change the water and you take care of these things, they just don't really
Yeah,
get
they
sick.
ain't catching a cold.
They do not like. I've never had a snake get an RI.
Yeah.
I just try to stay on top of it. I mean, I think if you just pay a bit of attention to them, I mean, but if you're not a snake person, I could see where you could run into trouble. I mean,
Hmm.
some people are just built for this. They just know what they should be doing.
Yeah.
But but it's all like because once the snake is sick, it's a different story. You might be in some trouble there.
Yeah, and a lot of times RIs end up being reoccurring, and it's yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I've had is with those wild caught cyclops that I messaged you. It had one of them. They're supposed to be treated. One of them had worms,
Mm,
and so messaged a few people. I don't want to say their names. I don't want everybody to message them, but got
yeah.
a extremely knowledgeable person told me how to give them panicure. Give a panicure, 3 full doses. Looks like it's all cleared up. So
Oh,
it's.
okay,
I
good.
just wanted to make sure that thing was happy. Like it's a good snake.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they recommended Flagell or Panicure for that, or what works
It
best. And
was it was a combination of hookworms and roundworms. So
Okay.
when it's that combination, I guess they go with panicure.
Yeah.
And like to simplify it, it's basically just divide the weight in grams of the snake by 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Basically how you dose it out. I mean, don't quote me on that. You'd have to check the math. Just I
Yeah,
don't.
I
Maybe
can't remember if it's
it was
if,
either that or
is it in
multiply into it.
micrograms? Is it I think it's in I think Panicure is dosed out in micrograms, not milligrams. I think it's a really small
Well,
dosage. I can't remember.
the person told me like this all this math, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, let me try something real quick because I know the answer. I'm like, I think this is just grams divided by 1,000, so I did
Yeah.
it. It's the same.
Yeah. Yes, I think that would be micrograms if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
That
I don't even know what a
Panicure.
microgram is.
Well, it's like a gram, what milligram, microgram. You like,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So I think because I think a milligrams what 100. It's like 100,000. So yeah, I think so. That's why it would be by 1,000.
Yeah, it's been a
But
while.
yeah, but yeah, well that's good. I'm glad they cleared up because I always like Cyclops. I always like the Cyclops, and I forget what region because it's technically not an island. It's like right.
It's like the
It's a region.
center. It's the center of Papua,
Yeah,
I
it's like a
guess, like the mountain
mountain or some.
range.
Yeah, yeah. I always call it Cyclops Island. I don't know why, but
Yeah, I
it's
think it's
not.
kind of
It's
in the middle, like not
yeah.
only in the middle of say like how like the length of it, but
Hmm.
it's like from the coast, it's in the middle of
Yeah,
everything. Well,
yeah. On
lengthwise and widthwise, it's
some
in the
mountain
center.
range or something. But
Yeah.
I remember looking it up a while ago. But yeah, I mean, yeah, those are neat snakes, man. And I wish. Well, I mean, there's a decent amount of people, I guess, working with some locality green trees
They're out
nowadays.
there.
Yeah, but I
But
mean,
it's
they used the Cameron used to bring so many in. You could just pick and
yeah,
choose whatever you wanted.
when that was going on, there's but they back then they were all like trying to make crazy morphs with them. Like
Yeah,
like
crazy
all the
colors and
pixelated patterned green trees. And
yeah.
so like there's a lot of there's still a lot of like a lot of people have really nice locality snakes, but they
Hmm.
don't have any intentions to breed them like to other localities.
Hmm.
A lot of people are so into the designer morphs. Like I don't know if it's a morph or just what do you call it?
Polygenic.
Yeah, polygenic. And but they yeah, it's super popular to make those crazy pattern snakes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they work do some locality work. But I've always thought about getting into green trees. I just never pulled the trigger on it, and I
I,
should because they're
I
easy as
was
shit to take care of.
I was actually trying to get into those last because of all the horror stories you hear. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've read so much about them. I'm like, I'm not even going to take a chance. I'm putting these things in tubs,
Hmm.
even until they're adults. They're in tubs. It's I can monitor humidity.
Yeah.
Basically, they've given me no trouble, and they're wild caughts. I mean, they are super easy snakes.
Yeah.
I think you run into trouble when you breed them, though. It's the egg hatching and
Hmm.
associated problems. So that's why I was waiting till last, and I probably won't ever get real big into them unless I've progressed in the hobby that much
Yeah.
where I can afford to have a lot of losses, I guess. Like, 'cause it's definitely it can't be roses with that species. There's going to be losses.
No. Yeah, I'll tell you, you need to look into Team Wars, man. If you like Super Dorse, you'd love Team Wars.
Yeah, I know I like them. I might have to get a pair.
Yeah, they're definitely worth it. Because I got my pair breeding. Andrew has one or two pairs breeding, and hopefully we get clutches. But
Yeah, that would be cool.
yeah, because I mean, I just they're my second favorite snake.
Yeah,
You know,
they look so neat. I mean, like
dude, and there's so much. Have you ever held one?
no, they're supposed to be pretty tame, aren't they?
Yeah, they're typically not big biters. They just piss on you. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, like just they're just different, man. There's just something about them, like their head scales, like all of that,
yeah,
and then they just turn in like then you get a little half past halfway and it like turns into a different snake. Like it's like the
yeah.
pattern's gone. You just got a different looking snake, and yeah, they're such neat animals. I really think I really think the super dwarf people into super dwarfs, I think that's a good if they're looking for another species. I think that's a good option.
I
Because
think I think a lot of people actually like some people I think try to go big with it. I think some people bought about 30, but they're like they just piss too much.
yeah, yeah. If you yeah,
Maybe.
I had wild caughts that I got off a dude, and he had worked with them when they were little. This was a long time ago. Dude, they were totally friendly, totally calm, friendly. Like just
I've
they,
never seen one run from somebody trying to pick them up.
yeah,
Every time it's like it looks fine to me.
yeah. They're cool until they're not. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You know what I mean? They'll be cool,
yeah, I
and then they're
do.
like, okay, I'm freaked out, and then they want left down. Like that's what they do. But yeah,
Okay,
the ones I had years and years ago, I wish I'd have kept those. Because I mean, they were, they were like a friendlier version of a retic. To
okay,
give, you know what I mean. And to me, if
yeah.
you're into retics, that's the closest relative to a retic. So I really think that those are some animals that I really think Timors are going to start getting more popular, especially in the retic
I wonder if
community.
you could kind of breed that out of them, that behavior. I wonder if that will go away over time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it'll go away first generation as long as you handle them.
Yeah, there's not too many of them. Like
No,
I don't think there's been enough done with them to make that type of thing go away all the way. But
no. And there's a
I have
couple
seen a
morphs.
lot. Right?
There's a couple morphs in them. They had
Is
a
there
wild.
really? I've never
Yeah, they
seen
had
it.
a wild caught ivory. I really think there's a hypo version out there. Yeah, because I've seen some really light colored ones that look like hypos, but nobody's ever, you know, like the shit I've seen over in Indo. Some really high yellow ones too, like golden ass yellow
Yeah,
ones, and
those are really cool looking. Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen those.
yeah. Then if you look at Rinka Island Timors, those are definitely like in my opinion they're a subspecies. Like their head's different, their
So
color's different.
they're on a different island entirely, huh?
Yeah, they run through.
They're actually is it Timor? They're not on Timor Island. They're in the Lesser Sundas.
Well, people in the U.S. tell me that, but the people in Indo's being like, no, there's a section of Timor Islands that have Timors.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Like, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people say they're not on Timor, but people that catch them in Indonesia have personally said, no, this section of Timor still has them because I think they were there and then kind of got
Yeah.
pushed out. I don't think they go. I don't think they're on Watar. Watar is where the dunes or Duns python comes from.
Okay.
That
Maclots.
yeah, is that a subspecies or I forget what the hell it is. Whatever.
I think it's a species.
Is it? I don't remember.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's
because
different. I know that.
that's where those are, and that's right above Timor, and I don't think they're there. But yeah, there is a group of island. I'll have to ask. Because the one dude that's always catching them in Indonesia, I think he told me there were 6 or 7 islands that he knows of that they're on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because if they're on Rinka, they're probably on Padar and Komodo, because
You
they're
would
right
think.
there. You
Yeah, I'd
know,
be interested to know what kind of pythons are on Komodo.
they got retics.
Do they? Yeah,
Yeah, they got retics.
I bet those Komodo dragons are getting a hold of them.
Yeah, they're. I don't think they get too big because they're not exactly king of the hill.
Yeah, yeah,
They're probably spending a lot of time in trees and in caves and shit.
yeah.
Um, but no, because I have some pictures of some Komodo Island retics somewhere. I'll have to look for them. Yeah, they just look like your typical lesser
Okay,
sunda.
that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not sure how many, but yeah, I think they said 6 or 7 islands in that area seem to have them. So, but
Okay.
that's coming from the people in Indonesia. That's not coming from all the U.S. scholars that know
Yeah,
better. You know.
yeah. I'm
But
surprised the people in Europe aren't really pressing to get a lot of these different retics because they can still get them.
I know. I was just talking to somebody recently about that, and they're like, "Hey, where can I get this?" And I forget. They hit me up about I forget what locality it was. They hit me up about it. I was like, "Well, listen. They're like, here's who I talked to over in Europe, and let me know. If you can get an importer, I'll talk to some people in Indo. We'll figure out whoever your importers, whatever farm they're dealing with. I'll help you. I'll help you line some stuff up. But I haven't heard back from. But
Wow.
they don't sell for much over there. You know what I mean? Like they're not.
I wonder if it's a difficult process. Like, because here, I mean, you could just go apply for the import license.
Yeah.
Kind of, I
Well.
talked to a couple people about it, and I've
Yeah.
looked into it.
Yeah. Yeah. You just go get it.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's like $100.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, if you ever get into that though, let me know.
Okay, I
Yeah,
will.
let me know. There's
Yeah,
a
we'll
whole
be
bunch
bringing
of.
in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. If you get that, yeah, you'll definitely want 2 buildings. One for your imports and one for
Yeah.
your.
Oh yeah. Like yeah. Once I get that separate building for the imports, it's on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a minimal of 20,000 or more you got to spend for a single order. So
Yeah, you bet you can get a lot of animals for that though. That'd be cool.
yeah, yeah, and it would be neat. I'll need you to get me some venomous stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I do have some plans. I do have some plans for that in the works. Some different plans. Probably can't talk about it yet. Yeah, I've told you about it, I believe.
Yeah,
But yeah, well, couple different places I'd like to start doing some importation from.
yeah. Are you how soon are you gonna try to get that in the works?
Oh, if all went well, the stuff from Indo, next year, the year after, the other one could start. I have to look like if I look into it and I find that it's okay, like we're allowed to
Hmm.
do it, try to start it as soon as possible. But
Okay.
also, I'd have to look into what do I have to do personally with venomous snakes. Do I have to get
Yeah.
any special licenses?
They have to be in their own box.
Okay.
They have to be like double contained in their own shipment. Yeah. So like, I think that's a new thing too. I can't remember if it's always been like that or not, but they have to be their own container
Yeah,
basically.
and with this venomous stuff, like I'm sure I'm probably not going to get into caring for them myself. It's
Yeah.
probably the deal where I'm going to find a person or two, or I bring it in and then that's where they're going, and we'll have
Yeah.
some arrangement that way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll take a big shipment of boreal vipers. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
if you do get your license, there's a couple islands with scrub pythons that people don't know about that I know about.
that'd be
So
cool.
there's
We'll make it
yes,
happen.
we could definitely get something going. Because I was so close to, um, I was looking into getting my just being able to import myself, and I was looking into setting up different people on each island because I was already talking to all these different people on different islands, and I was like, well, if I can get a farm in contact and have this one group of people that are basically just collecting for me, and then I have
That's the
really,
thing.
yeah, and I have really good locality data, like
Yeah,
really good locality.
if you can set it up, like if you can set this stuff up in these other countries,
Yeah,
there's a lot, that you can start some really great business there.
yeah,
That's what I'm looking at doing. This is a place where there's probably nothing coming out of to this country before.
really.
Yeah, it's where my wife is from, and so I've got the contacts there, so I've got to look into it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, that'll be neat.
We'd have to set it up from scratch, basically,
Yeah.
to give people the procedures and what to do with these, make sure they're cared for well while they're there,
Hmm.
and then getting them shipped over here. But I do think that like we would have the connections to make that happen as long as it's something we are allowed to do.
Yeah.
As long as U.S. says we can do it, I'll do it.
Well, as long as there's no law on the book saying you can't do it, it means you
Yeah,
can. So,
yeah,
that's how that works. So,
right.
but all right. Well, this has been an hour and a half. Anything else you want to go over?
No, that was quite a bit. That was a good conversation. I
Yeah,
really
yeah, I
enjoyed it.
enjoyed it. I really like. I didn't know if I would like doing this stuff, and I ended up liking this, doing these, having these talks a lot more than I thought I would.
Oh, I love to watch them.
Yeah, because it's not like work. It's not like,
Right,
you
right.
know what I mean. It's not like interviews. It's not, it's just
When I
talking.
go to a reptile show, this is what I end up doing.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I ended up, and I didn't want to. I don't want to do podcasts where I'm just got somebody on trying to sell something. I'm just not into that shit. Like, I mean, it's okay if that's what you're doing. Try to move some stuff, but just having a conversation with people is,
Yeah, I mean
is
that can
nice.
be a side thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but I appreciate. I'm glad you came on. I'm glad we had this conversation, and yeah, get that Facebook or get that YouTube and that social media running, and
I might give it a shot.
you'll be able to sell some snakes pretty easily, I'm sure. So
All right. Yeah, hopefully I'm trying to I would prefer to hold on to everything I've got and
yeah,
to just sell anything any litters or clutches I have. But sometimes job market can be rough. Got it. Sometimes I might have to let something go, and I really don't want to because I whatever I sell, I ain't gonna be able to get it again.
yep,
It's not hard to find.
yep. So, well, hey, don't hang up, but I'm gonna stop this, and we gotta let it
Okay.
load.
All right.